Welcome to my challenge run with a preview, just a short deck tech, right? In case you're not familiar with UBxd. This deck was very popular this time last year. Some of the cards previously found in it have been banned because this deck was really strong. But it's still good enough. Although you will see, I not only played against good matchups, I also had it en route to my splitting the challenge. So take that in mind before you just start playing this deck and assume that, you're going to win everything that you play, because, there's still bad matchups out there, but overall, I do like the deck. I am going to stick with it. I think it's strong. Most of the deck comes from Modern Monkey's top 8 in the challenge. I only played with a few numbers. It's based on what I expected to see. You have certain flex spots, right? We're going to move these tragic lessons over. They're not really flex spots. So these essentially are your flex spots, right? If you want to play this deck, those are the ones that you can play around with. This is arguable, but I think 3 is where you want to be. So some people would also say this is arguable, but I think 2 of these is where you want to be as well. So these are the 3 cards that you can play around with to your own preference. Spell Pierce was good for me. Dispel was okay. And the Decay, well, the Decay was really good. I somehow registered 3 Echoing Decay into a field full of Tron, and it worked out for me. So this one maybe, is more of a sideboard card these days. And speaking of sideboard cards, you can play around with some of these numbers as well. You might want 2 of these if people start playing this deck. This deck can't really deal with the Soul Reap super effectively. Dispel, being one of the things that is relied on in post-board matches. That's a sorcery. That doesn't work. And this kills Gurmag Anglers. Not many cards in Pauper that do. These are my concession to Bogles. They're also just good against decks with Ephemerate. They're also just good against decks relying on Dispel to counter things. Thorns come in against the decks that really don't attack very much, and they win with value or a combo or by going over the top of you. So, Tron being the primary offender, these were very good against Tron. I'm going to probably add a 3rd Thorn in my sideboard, something like this, because I think I just need 2 Geists. Speaking of the Geists, they do come in against Boros, all flavors of Boros. They come in the mirror match. They come in against Blue-Red Fairies. They have a lot of application, these Geists. They're quite nice. Nausea, Elves, and Boros Bully. I'm probably going to go to a 1-1 split of Nausea and Echoing Truth. Oh, one more matchup for Bogles. You bring in the Nauseas as well. Sometimes they play out a Bogle, and then you can Force Spike or Spell Pierce their first enchant creature that they're going to drop on that. Showing my age, they call those auras these days. And then you can Nausea the Bogle away, which sometimes is just good enough to win the game. So you do bring these in there as well. That said, I think I want Echoing Truth instead of a Nausea. And Echoing Truth still deals with all those tokens. If there's a Lumi Thread Field, that's the card I was thinking of. It also can bounce a Spider Silk Armor against Elves, allowing you to have a Nausea actually work against Elves. So it's a consideration I'm making. Blue Elemental Blasts deal with a Tog. A Tog's a scary creature. You also have that versus Affinity. Now, Dispels come in against Burn. All these cards, for example, would come in against Burn. And this is arguable, but you probably don't want to tap out. So, these come in against Burn. These come in against Tron. They come in against Familiars. I would probably bring these Dispels in over counterspells against Stompy, even, because it's really instance stopping, the Snuff Out or the Echoing Decay or the Agony Warp from being effective. That's going to lose you the game. So the sideboard is versatile. most of the cards come in several different matchups. Again, I think this is the change that I want to make, and we'll see if Bogles sticks around. If Bogles doesn't stick around, these edicts can probably be upgraded, although they are decent right now, just in their place in the metagame. They're decent, but they're not great, and I would prefer that the deck plays great cards in the sideboard. Moving in to my challenge, we're going to go through the first 3 rounds tonight. You're going to find that even after winning the challenge, my construct rating is a pathetic 1838. Well, usually it's higher when you win a big tournament than just that. But I've been playing a lot of different decks recently, trying to figure out what I want to play for the format championship. Been losing a lot of magic. So it's nice for it to go the other way in this. Well, let's get started with round 1. I'm going to win the die roll. I'm going to choose to play first. This is an instant keep. It's a pretty good hand. It's a good hand against a wide variety of the field. It has Delver's Secrets. It has mid-game and Augur Bolus. It has removal. And it has late game and Mystic Sanctuary. So it's got, all these different bases covered, which is nice. Our opponent's going to be on some sort of Boros. It's a pretty good draw against some sort of Boros. We're going to go get a swamp. He misses an attack for some inexplicable reason. We get the Snuff out. Augur is going to find the Tragic Lesson Mystic Sanctuary combo. So the thing is that if he deals with this, the Boros decks like to drag it out. Yeah, they like to make the game take a while. Now he's probably on Boros Bully because this is a mountain and a plains as opposed to one of these being an artifact land or a bounce land, or a Bajuku Bog. Like, Boros Monarch plays a much different land suite than basic lands. So he's probably on Bully, which means Decay is going to be really, really good. But it also means that this is probably not going to be very good, right? So you don't take Counterspell there. You take Tragic Lesson because the game could easily go really long. Here we have me being very greedy. But here's the thing, right? He's not going to be able to flash back Battle Screech if he doesn't have any creatures in play. I get the 2-for-1 value right away, and I also want to build a yard for Gurmag Angler. Gurmag Angler is coming down next turn, as is. Might come down for less mana depending on what he plays using these Snuff Outs. So he does have Battle Screech, which Echoing Decay would have been incredible against, but we're just going to put the pressure on him. We're going to drop Gurmag Angler, and wait, what? Oh, I Tragic Lessons because I couldn't have Counterspell backup for Gurmag Angler? That seems pretty reasonable. Having no longer have that Counterspell to hedge against Journey to Nowhere, we're just going to replay this Gurmag Angler. We do get punished by the exact scenario we were hedging against previously. Snuff Out is a tremendous magic card. We're just going to get in, still a Monarchy. He's at 1 life. We've got it all. We've got the combo. We've got the Monarchy. We've got the Decay. We have it. But on to the next one. In this match, I'm not really interested in keeping in Delver's Secrets. It's one of the matches where you take him out, even though that's the deck is blue-black Delver. Well, there's certain decks you don't want to be blue-black Delver. You want to be a slightly different deck. So you bring in Geists and you bring in Nauseous. He has turn 1 Relic. That's going to be very good against my Mystic Sanctuaries. The Squad Hawk looks good to him. We have the answer in hand. I keep saying we. It's very interesting because I think it's because I just got done interviewing myself for this as a joke about the podcast. So I'm going to try to switch to I being correct. We have the snuff out for the Seeker. There's only two things in this matchup that you want to be snuff outing: Seeker and Palace Sentinels. More important on Seeker than it is Palace Sentinels. So here's the spot that's interesting, right? Our opponent could not be representing Red Elemental Blast and or Pyroblast, whichever flavor of that spell you prefer. He could not be representing that more. So even though I brought in the Stormbound Geist, it's a very important card in this matchup. The only way he can really deal with it well is with the Journey to Nowhere, which means he's likely to not have a Journey to Nowhere against my Gurmag Angler, because this deck traditionally plays 3 Journey to Nowhere effects. It's not like they play cards like Tragic Lesson. They do have Faithless Looting, but the point is you only get to see so much of your deck with Boros Bully. So even though I want to slam this Geist, our opponent representing Red Elemental Blast, we're going to draw that out, rather, with a Tragic Lesson at end turn. Still trying to get max nausea value here as well. Here's the Pyroblast. And I get to stick Stormbound Geist, just like I drew it up. Also drawing the Blue Elemental Blast is nice there. I do bring those in. I do take out 4 spikes, right? My opponent walks into Nausea while living up Pyroblast, so life's good here. But yeah, you generally want to take out 4 spike after game 1, unless they're on Burn or Bogles or Goblins, I guess. I mean, decks that have like 16, 17 lands, probably Elves, I probably consider living in 4 spike against Elves as well. But the greedy decks, right, the low to the ground decks, you leave 4 spike in against them. Everyone else is just going to play around it, so let them. So don't even have it in your deck. Just let them play around the spell that you've cut. We're just going to sit back here. I could attack for Geist, but I don't really see the point. I have the Tragic Lesson combo. I have a full hand. I can just sit back. I will win this game. I'm not going to open myself up to any weird scenarios where he has double rally. I mean, I have the snuff out for that, but like, my point is that like, I can just discard at this point. I have that much card advantage. I've got everything that I need, except for a basic counterspell for this Palace Sentinels, which is a little awkward, but I have the snuff out. He's going to force me to start doing things. I'm going to take the Monarchy away from him by leaving him with the worst block. He wins that exchange. I have Nausea. I have Dispel if he would have had anything. Took the Monarchy away from him. Still have the Tragic Lesson. Mystic Sanctuary combo going on. Our opponent here has, my opponent here rather, has this Timely Relic. I had forgotten about that. That was incredibly annoying. Because I had the Angler, and he just broke up the Mystic Sanctuary combo, but fortunately for me, I drew the Deprive, which is pretty good. And we now have the Deprive Mystic Sanctuary combo going on, which at this point in the game is actually a little bit better. There's a redundant Monarchy here for him. We're just going to take the Monarchy back. We're going to Brainstorm, get rid of 2 lands, play some Anglers, and also that Echoing Decay. So, really was not threatened too many different points in this game. That's a good spot there, but guess what? We have Mystic Sanctuary in our hands, so we can just get Echoing Decays back. Like, that's round 1. The rest of the game sort of just plays itself. There wasn't too many different critical points there of interaction, just recognizing when he had Pyroblast. It looks close in terms of the end result, but I don't think that game was all that particularly close, which is... Well, it was a little closer because he had that timely relic. That relic was just super busted for him. Round 2, we lose the dice roll and we are on the draw. Right now, I'm pretty sure my opponent's against Bogles. I'm just trying to hit a Bogle here, but surprise, that's a land destruction spell, but we can protect our land with Force Spike. Only play we have is Augur. Got to go for it. It's not a good card in this matchup, but our opponent rewards us with an Echoing Decay target. I'm not going to resist this. I'm taking this, even though it puts my anglers at risk. Maybe that's a questionable play. It's not like green land destruction is that consistent of a deck. Our opponent did have another land destruction spell, but he chose the wrong land, allowing me to essentially just win the game on turn 4. That Echoing Decay, in retrospect, pretty greedy. Pretty greedy. Should have just arguably just held the land, right? It's an Ash Baron. It's kind of awkward not to be playing lands on your turn against land destruction. I don't know. Maybe you just have to go for it there. Oh, this is super sweet. Look at that. Look at that. I can't destroy my land if I draw 2 cards and return it to my hand. We'll counterspell the thing that makes blockers for this Gurmag Angler. And another tragic lesson is taught here for the gentleman on mono green land destruction. Really not the best time to be playing mono green land destruction. It's not the worst time, right? There was a lot of Tron this tournament and there was a lot of Boros, but at the end of the day, the rest of the metagame is going to be like Burn, Affinity, and Mystic Sanctuary decks, and all those decks probably beat this deck pretty easily. This deck's probably just fine against Tron, just fine against Boros. Well, Boros Monarch, right? Boros Bully probably just crushes this deck. It's an easy keep. I have Spell Pierce to protect my lands. Not playing a Delver here, not in a million years. We can play a Delver next turn, still protect our lands. Our opponent did mulligan down to 5, which makes it a lot easier to play a turn 2 Delver instead of a turn 1 Delver. I'm rewarded. My opponent has seen enough. He's had enough fun. Turn 3, he mulled into 5. He kept the best 5 card hand he could. And with 1 card in hand, and me going to have lands this game, he doesn't want anything to do with it. Little does he know, my hand's actually incredibly terrible, like, against him. If I don't draw a land, if I draw a land, I'm fine. But if I don't draw a land, Augur is not going to find me land. So that's awkward, but very short round. And on to round 3. Keeping this hand is fine against the field. Turn 1 Chain Lightning means this hand's maybe not the best, but we can Spell Pierce the next one. He has a Needle Drop based hand, so that should stall his advance. That's a terrible Augur, but at least we get all of it out of the way instead of drawing it. Searing Blaze and Needle Drop, pretty punishing. So is drawing Snuff Out. It's so bad in this matchup. It's like really bad. But Counterspell is really good in this matchup, so I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to get absolutely punished with the card I'm worried about most here, Curse of the Pierce Heart. I can't deal with that once it hits play. It's also going to have a creature to make my life difficult, but it's only going to get in once. Have the Gurmag Angler, counterspelling that may as well. If we do get punished again, he has the one card that matters, but Augur finds counterspell. Agni Warp gets that out of the way. I can now attempt to race. I draw incredibly poorly, but so does my opponent in drawing a card that I actually interact with there. If he had drawn a Lava Spike, I'm just dead. And somehow he bricks here. Just, I win this game inexplicably, even though really when I draw this card on that turn, after he lands this card, the chances of me winning slim and none. Got there somehow. I wonder, I mean, I could do the math, but there's a large percentage of his deck that wins the game for him on that last draw step. He's got to be a favorite there. Drawing off the top to win the game. Didn't come through. Game 2. So this hand's really good as far as mulligan goes. Got a counterspell. It's going to stop a burn spell. Got a spell pierce. It's going to stop a burn spell right now. It's a shame I don't have an untapped blue source on turn 2. That would have been nice. We could have stopped this aggressive start. I do go ahead and get a blue here. I just recognize this card's going to deal some, and I don't actually like how I resolve that Brainstorm. In retrospect, this Preordained should not be in my hand. That was a mistake for sure. Draw the swamp somehow. Am able to Grimag Angler into this blue elemental blast as protection. He's got one card in hand. I'm at 6 life. You know, honestly, the chances of me losing here now are just so minuscule. Just look at this. Like we got counterspell for Rift Bolts. You know, how do I lose? Honestly, we got Mystic Sanctuary going. I get back that red elemental blast. My plan here being, of course, that I'm going to red elemental blast this out of the way. Because the thing about the Deprived lock is that I just don't draw cards ever again. So, like, I can't win the game. Right? The Deprived lock's for a slightly different situation than this one. The Deprived lock wouldn't have really gotten me anywhere there. So I have to put the red blast on top because I have to blast this guy out of the way because I have to actually kill my opponent before he draws enough burn spells to kill me because he plays more burn spells than I play counter spells. So, weird situation happens. I have to counterspell the Thermo Alchemist. He just happens to have the 2-card combination. I was shields down there for, you know, at least a turn. And a game that as surprising as it is that I win game 1, it's that surprising that I lose this game. But these kind of things happen, you know, against Burn. It's a high variance deck. Game 3, on the play. Mulligan into a nice enough hand. The Echoing Decay is the last copy. How I sideboarded, I brought back in Echoing Decay because I didn't expect him to have his Lava Runner still. I really thought he would take out Lava Runner against me. And at the point which he saw multiples, I decided to bring in one copy of Echoing Decay again. I do get to punish him super hard with that Force Spike. I do get to flip this. I get the value of choosing to preordain instead of hold up Deprive as well. But I just wanted to find lands, right? Still can't find lands, but have grown an Angler the old-fashioned way. And we have Spell Pierce to protect ourselves, like this game. And that's what winds up happening is he takes a really long time, and then he concedes from this point. So those were my first 3 rounds. I've got some more rounds to get through. Round 4 is a bit of a doozy. Not ready to tackle that now, but yeah, thank you for joining me.